Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our final weather update for this week, the last of the tracking of Cyclone Gabrielle as it finally falls apart out here to the east. It's being stretched out sideways. It's going to end up with two centres by the next day or two. One will be near the Chathams, the other one will be way out to the east, and then gradually it's going to fall apart. We've got a big area of high pressure in the Tasman Sea. It's not the most powerful high, but it's enough to come in for this weekend. It's just what the doctor ordered, really, and that'll be moving in across the country. So between the departing low and the incoming high, there's a southerly. That is driving in wind and rain for parts of the lower North Island as the storm finally moves away. So you'll see this front move up and deliver a little bit of wet weather and a few thunderstorms, as you can see here when we recorded this. So as you take a look at this afternoon's rain map, Thursday afternoon, there are two types of rain on this map. You've got the southerly coming in here to Wellington and Waiata Upper and parts of like around the Kaikoura Ranges with your usual sort of southerly weather, right? It's wet and windy at times. But as it goes further northwards, the daytime heating, especially inland areas, we'll see those showers turn into thunderstorms and isolated heavy falls. So along the ranges, that is a risk. Now, hopefully the risk is more so on the other side of the ranges, so the rain drains off that way, but it could easily spill over. So it's just to be aware of that even though the rainfall totals in Gisborne and Napier and Hastings today may not be that big, 5 or 10 millimetres if that, inland in the hills there just could be some bigger downpours that drive some more rain down. Now rain after a flood isn't a bad thing. Sometimes it can be very helpful. It can help wash the silt away, clean up some of your properties, get the silt off the grass. So it's not a bad thing necessarily to see a little bit of rain just coming through. It's more of a problem when it's heavy and it lingers around a bit. So just need to be aware of that thunderstorm risk this afternoon, because thunderstorms do tend to linger sometimes. And the risk up here around East Cape is moderate this afternoon on the scale here. So a moderate risk for the whole upper North Island, in fact even higher up there around Northland. So hopefully, like I say, it's not going to cause major headaches, but it's just one more little thing to be aware of today. There'll be some good in it with the rain at lower levels, but and just a small amount, but higher up, if you do get a thunderstorm, it's well worth keeping an eye on if you can. I mean, obviously there's still limited connectivity around that area. Now have a look at the next 7 days rainfall, departure from normal. Most of this map is red and pink, and that shows it's drier than average for this week and compared to other years at this time of the year. So basically drier than average in many areas. If you're colourblind, you can't see the rain. The wettest area is up there, just south of the Gulf of Carpentaria. Got a little bit of wet weather in the middle of next week from a southerly coming into New Zealand, and also the front that I just talked about moving up the North Island. So the lower part of the North Island, just a little bit wetter than average. Otherwise, most places are either normal or drier than normal for this time of the year. So that's a good thing to be talking about considering what we've just gone through. So here we are on Friday. The main feature for New Zealand still is Cyclone Gabrielle's remnants. It's no longer really a proper cyclone. It doesn't have gale force winds all the way around it, but there are gales still just in this area. A bit of a squash zone between the high coming in and the low that's struggling to depart, but is departing. The Chatham Islands have a bit of rough weather, but as I said yesterday, it's just another day in the office for them, but it's still serious enough to be aware of because the marine conditions around the island are going to be extreme for a day or so. Elsewhere, not a lot going on this map. We do see a bit of low pressure up here in the tropics. That is normal, especially in a La Nina summer in February. So that is a normal setup to be seeing low pressure. The low that's stuck here in the Gulf of Carpentaria isn't expected to become a cyclone. So just because you see a low doesn't equal tropical cyclone. It doesn't work that way. It needs to have ideal conditions for them to form. So while there is a bit of low pressure up here around Fiji and Tonga, New Zealand, on Saturday, high pressure. Couple of showers will bubble up here and there, maybe one around Northland and maybe again around the northern Hawke's Bay Ranges and the Gisborne Ranges going up to East Cape. The risk isn't extremely high, but the risk is there still for a couple more showers and a few showers on the west coast. Otherwise settled, and it remains that way on Sunday. Settled for the North Island, maybe a couple of isolated inland showers, a couple of showers on the west coast as the clouds start to thicken, and they're thickening because of stormy weather down here. A sign of autumn on its way. Cold front coming in. It won't do a lot, but it just drives in a bit of rain and those westerly winds. So next week, high pressure is still in charge. The weather for the cleanup is just ideal in most places. Like I say, other than those showers and downpours around today and maybe a couple more tomorrow, most places are really drying out and the winds are going as well. Light winds, plenty more sunshine. It's the forecast most people in the North Island are desperate to hear, and it's pretty much what we've got. And down in the south where you want it to rain, you do have a little bit of rain on the way. Not a huge amount, but enough to be like, okay, it's not quite as dire as it could be. So by the middle of next week, this high pressure zone will be coming into Australia with some windy weather around Victoria and heading towards South Australia. And Tasmania is on the edge of it, and you get the colder southerly. So that colder southerly tracks along into the South Island by Wednesday, and by Thursday next week, it slides up the coastline. So Thursday, Friday next week, the eastern North Island might have some showery weather as a result of this front. We don't have all the maps because we don't normally go quite that far out, but that's just what is on the cards. And we're not seeing any signs of a tropical cyclone in the next week or two in the north, but it's obviously peak cyclone season. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that. But just remember, even if one does form, it's still got a long journey to go to actually reach us in New Zealand, if it even comes our way. So just trying to let people take a bit of a deep breath and not get too stressed. That is all from me on what has been an extraordinary past week or two. Our thoughts at Weather Watch are very much with the families who have lost loved ones. It's a very serious situation and it's still unfolding. We're going to hear more about what has gone on in the East Cape and around Wairoa and Napier and Hastings. So our thoughts are with them and obviously with Aucklanders, Northlanders and everybody in between who was walloped by Cyclone Gabrielle. Thank you for all the very supportive comments you've sent through to us on social media and on our website. We really do appreciate them, especially after such a draining week. Thank you. But that is all from me for today. We are not here tomorrow. We are taking a bit of a break, but we will be back. We'll see you again on Monday. And of course, our website doesn't stop. weatherwatch.co.nz and ruralweather.co.nz, or download our free app, Weather Watch. We're getting a new app soon. It's nearly finished. I've been talking about this for a long time, but we're fine-tuning it. We're also trying to work with Met Service to include their warnings on it. So we want people to get better alerting, better communications. That's what we are all about. Thank you so much for all your support this week. Take care. We'll see you next week.